Okay, good morning. Hope you guys have had a great week. I appreciate everything that you've done working with Miss Hall. So 1 week is almost down. You only have 2 left to go. Remember, the last week will be a review, a study guide day, and then a testing day. And that's the last week. So next week is the last week that we're learning new things. So please stay focused and continue to, participate and keep your grades up. All right, so today we're doing a review for our quiz. You have about 4 problems on your quiz that will be on Pythagorean's theorem. And then you have 6 problems that will be on your trig ratios. So all I'm asking you to do with your trig ratios is to set up that fraction. And with Pythagorean's theorem, of course, you're solving for one of your sides. So here's our warm-up that's going to review one of each. So it says draw a triangle ABC where angle BAC is the 90-degree angle. Now let's remember, when we name an angle, the middle letter tells me where that angle is located. So when I draw this triangle, I need to draw this triangle, a right triangle, and I need to label it so that angle A has the right angle. Okay, so there's one side. Then I have this side and my third side. Alright, so now that I have my triangle, I'm ready to label it, and A has to be the right angle. So A will be here, B here, and then C is here. Okay, so notice if we trace B, A, C, the middle letter is where the angle occurs at, or where the vertex of the angle is. Okay, so this is the right angle, and it is 90 degrees. I represent that by putting the box in there. All right, now they're telling me that the sine of B is 3/5, which means I'm standing at angle B, because that's why they give you this. This is your reference letter. So I'm going to draw my little stick man over here by angle B. Okay? Now, remember, the diagonal side is always the hypotenuse. The side across from where I'm looking at would be side AC. That would be the opposite side. And by default, that makes this side the adjacent side. Let me clear that up. That was kind of sloppy over there. Okay. So this is the adjacent. I'm going to do ADJ today because we actually have an angle A, and I don't want you to get that mixed up with the adjacent side. Okay. So now that I have everything labeled, we can go ahead and put in our measurements. Okay, we didn't know which side was which. They didn't tell us that. All they told us was that the sine is this ratio, 3/5. Well, if you remember correctly, so TOA tells me that the sine has opposite over hypotenuse. The cosine has adjacent over hypotenuse. And the tangent represents opposite over adjacent. Okay? So if we're just looking at sine, then I'm only going to use these 2 sides, opposite and hypotenuse. The top number will represent the opposite side, okay? Because when we do this, we actually write it like this. Sine of B equals opposite over hypotenuse. So since the 3 is on top, the 3 represents the opposite side, and the 5 represents the hypotenuse. So I'm going to put these measurements in the triangle where they belong. So the opposite side was this side. Remember, we said it had an O. So it's going to be equal to the number 3. So the length of this side is 3. Now the hypotenuse will have a length that is equal to 5, because that is what's given in this problem, okay? So now they ask me to find the length of AB, which means they want me to find this side. Now, do we use a trig ratio or Pythagorean's theorem to find a missing side? You should have known that we use Pythagorean's theorem. As long as we have a right triangle, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Pythagorean's theorem will always give me the missing side so long as I know 2 of the sides. And we know 2 of the sides because one is 3, the hypotenuse, and the opposite side is 3. So that means we're solving for a here. A is x, b is 3, and c is 5. So now we're ready to plug into Pythagorean's theorem. A squared it can stay the same, or you can plug in x if you want to. B is 3, so 3 squared, and c is 25. Well, I'm sorry, it's 5 squared. All right, and then we start solving. That's what I was doing, okay? So x squared plus 3 squared is the same thing as 3 times 3, which is 9. And 5 squared is the same thing as 5 times 5, which is 25. So this step I need to see from everybody, because this is how you show your work. Alec, hint, hint. So we have to show our work. So here we go. I'm going to get x squared by itself by subtracting 9 on both sides. That gives me 16. And then I'll take the square root of both sides. So I know x is equal to plus or minus 4. But we're going to use the positive 4 because we're talking about lengths. So that means the length of AB equals 4 units. Okay? Now, on your quiz, I do not present your problems using this type of technique that they've used here, where you have to draw your own triangle, you have to draw where you're standing at and figure out what side is opposite over adjacent. But they do use this type of setup on your CDA, okay? They will give you a triangle. Sometimes they don't give you a triangle. You actually have to draw it and do all of these steps, okay? So I just wanted to make sure that I showed you this. But notice we did get work. We got practice with Pythagorean's theorem, okay? Your problems for Pythagorean's theorem, all of them, you will be given a triangle. I will give you, say, one side. You will have to find the other side. Okay? So you would have to find the side, which in this case would be B, that would give me, that allow A to be 2 and C to be 7, which you're plugging into this formula again. Okay? So it's either that or I give it to you like this. A is 5, C is 12, and you need to find B. So you don't need a triangle, you just need the numbers for A and C, and you can just plug them into your Pythagorean's theorem. Okay? So if there are any questions, you can pause the video at this point to address any questions on Pythagorean's theorem. Okay? Alright, so if there's no questions or the questions have been answered, now what we want to do is we want to find, number 2, what is the tangent of C? Now I am just asking you for the ratio. What does the fraction look like for the tangent of C? Now that we know everybody's length, and let me go ahead and clean this up a little bit. Okay, so A is 4 because we just found that out from the previous problem. B was given to be 3. and C is 5. This is what we call a Pythagorean's triplet. 3, 4, 5 is one of the special numbers that you know always make Pythagorean's theorem true. Alright, so tangent of C means we move our little guy. I'm going to make him purple this time. So he's going to be standing over here at C. So this is where we're standing because that is the angle, once again, that they have highlighted. So notice last time he was standing at B. Now he's standing at C because this is the letter they gave me. So we're looking for what is the fraction that represents the tangent of C. Well, according to our SOHCAHTOA, the tangent is opposite over adjacent. Okay? Now we need to name our sides again. Remember, the hypotenuse is always the diagonal side, okay, or the side that is across from the right angle. So this is H. The opposite side, you just draw a line from your stickman clearly across the picture. And that's going to be this side, so that is my O. And by default, that makes this side the adjacent side, because it is standing right next to our stickman or our angle C. Okay? So what number should go on the top and what number should go on the bottom if we're doing tangent, which is opposite over adjacent? Correct. 4 would go on the top and 3 would go on the bottom. And that is it. This will be the answer to that problem. So you have 6 problems that look like this. You have 4 problems that are asking you about Pythagorean's theorem. Okay? I'm not asking you to do anything more than use Pythagorean's theorem to find a missing side and to set up each one of your ratios. So I'm going to ask you, I think 2 of your ratios are tangent. 2 of them are asking you to set up a sine function, and 2 of them are asking you to set up a cosine function. Okay, so you have 2 of each type and 4 Pythagorean's theorem. If there's not any questions, then we can go ahead and clear your desk completely. You cannot use your notes on this, and you probably can use 1 clean sheet of paper. So you can leave 1 clean sheet of paper and your pencil on your desk. Everything else should be put up in your notebook, not just thrown underneath your desk. Make sure it is put up. That way we do not have to think that you're cheating. Okay? And everybody's going to do their own work. Any type of talking or communication of any kind will be considered cheating. Ms. Hall is aware of my testing rules. We do not use cell phones at all during a quiz. You cannot use them for music. You cannot use them to communicate with anybody. So all of your cell phones should be put up and away. So if she sees a cell phone, she can assume that you are cheating, take your phone and your quiz, and give you a 0. Okay? So let's clear our desk. Let's follow the testing rules. There's no communication with anyone, sign language, regular talking, or any type of communication until the last quiz is turned in. Okay? You will have 25 minutes to complete the quiz. You must show your work, Alec, to receive credit for the correct answers. If you do not have work for all of your Pythagorean's theorem problems showing the steps you use to solve the problem, you will not receive credit for that correct answer. Okay? Good luck, you guys. And after the quiz, we will do one of our new units and we will move on. Good luck. I know you guys will do well. Have a good day. Bye-bye.